What up, random rockers? Alright. Today is an album review. You may not see the album. It's not like my normal thing because, it just kind of came out this past Friday on Bandcamp. And they're not a local, as in stateside type band. In fact, they're the only band I believe that's bothered to subscribe to me. And in fact, if they hadn't, I wouldn't have known about them, really. And, thank you, actually. In fact, the fact that I'm even bothering to do this, I also should be praiseworthy in of itself, I guess. For you guys. I don't know how else to say this, except, I had to really rely on something else. So here we go. The album is called The Euphoric. And then the band is The Fierce and the Dead. I've heard the first two tracks pretty well. The opening one, which was I believe the second single, great choice, which was also a good choice for a single, and that was Truck. Felt like a truck too. Brr. 1991's alright. Some people really do. It's a good track. To me, they are an instrument. As far as I know, they're an instrumental hard rock act of the more progressive rock, kind of sort of metal variety. But the metal part doesn't truly, at least the high gain distorted part, doesn't truly come in until about, at least to me, until about maybe track 7, which is basically by that point, that's where that starts to come in. It's really, to me, mostly are instrumental. They're kind of leaning towards progressive rock with some alternative and even indie rock influences, more along the lines of maybe grunge, but more so dream pop and shoegaze and post-hardcore and post-rock, kind of all culminated together, and this is what you got. Maybe alternative metal, but that's kind of pushing it, really. But for me, they come off as very Dinosaur Jr. Pixies meets Pixies meets maybe Husker Du meets Silversome Pickups. There might be some My Bloody Valentine and Ride and Slow Dive, maybe an influence to them. I'm not sure on that myself, but it's neither here nor there with that. In fact, sometimes I wonder if it's, hell, maybe Sonic Youth. I'm not, though that's debatable too. That's actually quite debatable. They're not nearly as experimental, but regardless, Truck and 1991 are great. Great tracks. The Euphoric, it's pretty good. Dancing Robots, no, I definitely felt like dancing on that one. Dugtown's pretty dang good too. The weakest tracks to me usually are actually, in this case for the band, seem to be the shortest. And the shortest of them is Cadet Opal. Not really much there. Feels more like a segue than an actual track that you could consider a song, I guess. But they easily make up for that for what is to me the best track. To me, the best track that I really gravitate towards the most, and that's Verbose. And from that point forward, it seems to just kind of continue in that sort of heavier vibe. In fact, that's the most metallic meaty of the tracks is Verbose. And it seems to kind of come off here and there in parts 7 and 8. Where's this? I guess the other albums that they have are where the other 6 parts go, I guess. Find out when I get a chance to listen to it, if I can get past listening to this album. I haven't really stopped wanting to listen to this. In fact, I was wanting to work on some other album, but that EP, and that was, just trying to start diving into that stuff was rough, so I just kind of went back to this one. Of course, the band themselves consists of Matt Stevens, Kev Feezy, Stevens on guitar, synth piano, Kev Feezy on bass, programming, synth percussion. He also recorded, mixed, and mastered this album. Steve Clayton on guitar, piano, and Stuart Marshall on drums and percussion. Kudos to you, Stuart. Really, really good. Really good drums on this one. And Feezy, your bass is definitely, that's another thing. Your bass between you and Stuart, especially on verbose. Yes. The Stevens and Clayton. I just say Matt Steve. That's gonna just confuse you guys. Your guitars are definitely well welcomed here on this entire record, for sure. Especially with our opening of Truck. But yeah, the choices of sounds. There's just a funness to this, and Truck really does bring that in. Verbose just has a certain level of heaviness I just like, and I think it really brings in, and I think even by point of Dougtown, I think is where that sort of Smashing Pumpkins-esque fuzziness kind of comes into play for me, and I think Verbose kind of does that, but I feel there's something to it that comes off more high gain distorted than fuzzy distorted. I mean, for the most part, it's very punchy in a punky kind of way, with some sort of fuzziness, some stonery, if not sludgy kind of fuzziness to it. That definitely gives off a maybe more stonery and that psychedelic kind of, or psychedelic fuzz. Let's go with that kind of a feel to it. But in a very, if not grungy fuzz, sort of somewhere in between. Not necessarily Hendrixy, but regardless, I mean, this album's been pretty good, and I love the heavy parts that ends off of parts 7 and 8, which is the longest track on the record, but I can't say it's better than Verbose, but my god, it's pretty good. And 48K is fine. I wasn't too keen on the Rob Ramsey's spoken word. I believe that's this guy's name in his spoken word, but he was fine. The cover art on this album I dig it. It has a very Bill and Ted kind of feel to it for me. It's cyberpunky, but in like a not I wouldn't say Blade Runner-ish, but it's very Bill and Ted, like something about it that's kind of just makes me think of like the beginning of Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey kind of future type of thing. Overall, I'd say y'all did really good. I definitely love the guitars on here between Stevens and Clayton. Feezy's got some good bass, and when it does stick out, and it sticks out in the best way, like, as I said, for Verbose. I don't know how many times I'm going to talk about Verbose, but overall, I feel like this is a band. They're from Brighton, the UK. They're not from the US, and it might be hard for them to get noticed outside of just checking out their Bandcamp, and please do so. It's worth checking. It's another underground band that's worth checking out. And it's more instrumental, but which some people it's a turnoff if there's no words or something. And the closest thing you get is 48K's, the spoken word off of that from Rob Ramsey. It just ain't much of anything to me, but it took a while for me to like. It took a few other listens for me to let it grow on me. But yeah, long before that, by the time Truck already hit, I was already feeling euphoric, man. And you definitely feel a sense of euphoria. So the choice and title for this album was smart by the band. I'd say their sound does come off somewhat fierce, but fun. I like something fun. And yeah, I don't know if I could say they're metal. They're more rock than metal, but when they do get into some metal territory, it works for them. Overall, if you like your Pumpkins, your Smashing Pumpkins, your Pixies, your Dinosaur Jr., your Silver Sun Pickups, or any of the like of that nature, in so-called stuff like that here and there. Something ambient, sometimes droney, but very much rock driven. Hard rock, heavy metal-ish driven, like more traditional heavy metal than anything, but with some more alternative element and progressive elements here and there. Look no further than this album. I'm definitely saying, I'm just going to say it rocks. It rocks. I can't say masterclass, but it's a fun listen. Definitely check it out. In fact, it's good enough that I would be willing to try to finally check out what else this band's pretty well have to offer, aside from just whatever they've put out on their YouTube channel. So, yeah, guys. Yeah, to Stevens, Feezy, Clayton, Marshall. Yes, I'm going by your last names this time. I enjoyed this album, and I hope that all of you guys who see this can hopefully get a chance to check it out, because it's definitely worthwhile. So, definitely, even if they don't seem like they may come across as innovative, necessarily, it does not really matter. They just making good, fun music. That's instrumental, and just it's nice to kind of get you through a day, whether you're mowing a yard, in my case, or just driving along in your car. So, yeah. And that's what I gotta say. So, the Euphoric by Fierce and the Dead. I'll put it in title card. You'll know the name by then. If I'm sorry if I butchered it, guys. But I wanted to make sure I got this out there, so for you all, and so that I can do my due diligence here stateside for y'all and spread the word. But But again, guys, what did y'all think of the Fierce and the Dead album, the Euphoric? Comment below. Let me know. Leave a comment below. Let me know. Like and follow me on Facebook if you can. Definitely, if you do subscribe, make sure you hit that notification bell, or else you'll never know whether or not of when I'll release anything in my feed. So, and if you do, depending on how you do it, make sure you hit the all. If not, and it's most likely through the YouTube app, they'll probably make it all immediately in terms of the notifications. So, if not, they'll have to just press all if you have to. It would help out and spread for this channel, and of course, as always, guys, keep your real copper rocking. I will see you in the next video, whatever that may be. Solo, and a particular special album that also came out 20 years ago, from a few weeks ago when it was talked about on Revolver. If that gives you a hint on what it is. In fact, it's an album I was asked to do, and never got a chance to do it. I'm going to. So, check that one out. Take care, y'all.